You have been to the doctor, maybe more than once. You sat on the paper-covered table and you tried to explain it, this tiredness that does not behave like tiredness. You sleep, and it is there in the morning waiting like it slept beside you. You rest, and the rest does not land. You have cut things out, added things in, taken the vitamins, walked the walks, and the weariness sits exactly where it sat before. Somewhere deeper than muscles, somewhere the blood tests cannot reach. And the tests came back fine. And the doctor, a good doctor maybe, said the words you have learned to expect. Everything looks normal for your age. And you drove home with a clean bill of health and the same heavy chest, feeling like a liar and a mystery at the same time. Tonight, I want to offer you the old explanation. The one my people would have given you before the paper-covered tables existed. The tests came back fine because the tests were looking at the body, and it was never your body. Your body is tired the way any faithful old horse is tired, honestly, from the road. But the weariness you are describing, the one underneath, the one sleep cannot touch, that is not the horse. That is the rider. My grandmother would have said it in 4 words, your soul is tired. And a tired soul, she taught me, has its own signs, as clear as any fever, as readable as any chart, if someone teaches you to read them. Nobody taught you. The world you grew up in stopped reading souls a long time ago. So tonight, I am going to teach you the 5 signs, the way they were taught to me, and as I name them, be honest with yourself, mark which ones you carry. Because at the end, I am going to tell you what tired souls need. And I promise you now, it is not what tired bodies need. And that is exactly why nothing you have tried has worked. The first sign your soul is tired and not your body is that things have lost their taste. Not your tongue, hear me. The food still registers salt and sweet. I mean the taste of things. The meal you used to love arrives and it is fine. Only fine. Eating has become refueling. The music plays, the same songs that used to lift the hair on your arms, and now they pass through you like weather through a window. The garden blooms and you note it the way you would note a fact in a newspaper, where you used to stand in front of it and feel something rise. The grandchildren are wonderful, and you know they are wonderful. You can list the ways, but the knowing sits in your head and does not travel down to the chest the way it used to. This is what the old people called the gray tongue of the spirit. Understand what is actually happening because it is not sadness exactly. And that is why it confuses everyone. Taste, real taste, the felt sweetness of being alive is not produced by the world. The world only offers. The tasting is done by the soul. An arrested soul tastes everything, finds flavor in a cup of coffee and a change of light. A tired soul cannot taste the way a tired tongue after sickness cannot taste, no matter what feast is set before it. So people the mistake, and you may have made it, of changing the feast. New purchases, new shows, new plans, richer and richer offerings set before a taster too weary to taste. The feast was never the problem. Stop changing the menu. The soul does not need better dishes. It needs rest, its own kind. And I will teach you its kind before we are done tonight. The second sign is that you feel heaviest in the morning. This is the sign that separates soul tiredness from body tiredness most cleanly. So, mark it well. A tired body is heaviest at night after the day has spent it. And morning finds it restored because sleep is the body's medicine. And sleep works on bodies. But you go down worn and come up worn. You wake, and before your feet touch the floor, before the day has asked one thing of you, the weight is already on your chest. And sometimes those first minutes of the morning are the heaviest of the entire day. The modern books have their names for this, and some of their names are useful. And if a doctor has given you one, honor it. I do not war with medicine. But hear the old understanding beside it. Sleep repairs the vessel. Sleep does not refill it. The refilling of the spirit was never sleep's job. The refilling happens through other doors, quiet ceremony, beauty, meaning, the doors I will name at the end. And if all of those doors have been closed in a life, and in most modern lives every one of them is closed, then a person can sleep 9 hours a night for years and wake empty every single morning because the vessel was repaired all night but never once refilled. You are not failing at sleep. Your sleep is doing its whole job. It is the only worker left on a site that used to employ 5. That is why the mornings are heavy. You are waking up repaired and repaired and empty feels exactly like what you feel, and no earlier bedtime will ever fix it. My grandmother explained this to me with her water jar, and I give you the picture because it will stay with you longer than any words. She held up her clay jar one evening, the one she carried from the well her whole life, and she said, "When this jar cracks, I mend it. That is repair. And the jar can be perfectly mended," she said. "Every crack sealed, sound as the day it was made, and still be bone empty. Mending and filling are two different works. Nobody confuses them with a jar." And then she looked at me the way she looked when the teaching was arriving, and she said, "But with themselves, people confuse them all the time. They mend and mend, the sleeping, the resting, the doctoring, the early nights, and they cannot understand why they are still empty. And it is because in all their mending, they have not once walked to the well. Sleep is the mending. It seals the day's cracks, and it does that work faithfully, which is why your body is not falling apart. But the well, grandson, the well is somewhere else entirely, and a person who has forgotten where their well is can mend themselves perfectly every night for 30 years and carry an empty jar the whole time." When she finished, I asked her the question you are asking right now. "Where is the well?" And she smiled and said, "That is the right question, and it is the last one tonight has room for. Tomorrow, I will show you. And I am going to do for you what she did for me, first the signs, all 5, so you know your jar. Then, before you leave tonight, the well, stay with me. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever. And most of what I know was never written anywhere. So I sat down and I wrote it, all of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about what refills a spirit and what only repairs it. The ones about the doors that were closed in your life without your permission. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called the native way, and it costs less than one dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments. But do not leave yet, because the third sign is the one that frightens people when I name it, and I need you to hear it from me gently before life shows it to you roughly. The third sign your soul is tired is that you have started avoiding people you love, not enemies, not the draining ones. I have taught you about those, and avoiding them is wisdom. I mean the good ones. The friend whose call you let ring out, and she is a good friend. And you could not have told anyone why you did not pick up. The visit you postponed twice to people whose company you genuinely love. The gathering you left early, not because it was bad, because being there, even happily, was costing something you did not have. And afterward, the guilt, because you cannot explain it. You love these people. Why are you hiding from love? I will tell you why. And when I tell you, the guilt can go. Every meeting with another person, even a beloved person, even the most gentle meeting on this earth, asks something from the spirit. Presence is an expense. Attention is an expense. Being seen, being known, responding, offering yourself across the table, all of it is paid for from the soul's account. And when the account is full, these are the best purchases in life. Hear me, the very best. Connection is what the account is for. But when the account is empty, when the soul is running on fumes, even a beloved face becomes an invoice. And the spirit, wiser than you, older than you, begins quietly declining transactions. Not because the love died, because the account is empty and the soul is protecting the last of it. So the avoidance is not a sign you have become cold or that the love has gone, and it is certainly not a reason for guilt. It is a sign, one of the clearest, that the vessel is nearly dry. The tired soul does not stop loving. It stops being able to afford love's expenses. And the answer is not to force yourself out more, as the cheerful advice always says, and not to withdraw completely either. The answer is to refill the account. Then watch, the hunger for the beloved faces comes back on its own, the way appetite returns after a fever. And to anyone whose guilt about this has grown teeth, who has been calling themselves a bad friend, a distant mother, a cold sister because of the unanswered calls and the postponed visits, let me take the teeth out tonight. Think of the most generous person you have ever known and imagine them with an empty purse. Are they suddenly stingy? No. They are generous and empty, and those are different things, and everyone can see it except the person themselves. You are generous and empty. The love is intact, every ounce of it. Only the purse needs tending. And the people who truly love you, if they understood what I have just taught you, would not want one more visit purchased from your empty account. They would want you at the well. Go to the well for them if you cannot yet go for yourself. That is allowed. Many of my people's strongest healings began exactly that way. Done for the sake of the ones we love until the healed one learned, somewhere along the path, to also do it for themselves. The fourth sign is that silence has become uncomfortable. This one hides itself, so look carefully. There was a time, maybe you cannot even remember it, when you could just sit on a porch, in a kitchen, in a parked car for a minute before going in, with nothing playing and nothing to do, and it was not empty. It was full. The quiet had a texture, and you could rest in it. And now, notice the moment stillness arrives, a hand reaches for something. The television, the radio, the phone, the little tasks, any sound, any motion, anything but the bare quiet. And most people believe this restlessness means they are energetic, or easily bored, or just modern. Hear the old reading instead. The soul speaks in silence. That is its hour. That is the only room it can be heard in. And a rested soul speaks pleasantly there, contentment, gratitude, easy memory, gentle wondering. And so a rested person loves the quiet because the quiet is good company. But a tired soul, an untended, unheard, long-neglected soul, speaks its condition in that room. The unfelt griefs are in there. The unlived life is in there. The questions you have outrun for 30 years sit in that silence like patient visitors. And the moment you enter, they rise to meet you. So, you have learned, without ever deciding it, to never enter. To keep a sound running the way an innkeeper keeps lamps lit so a certain room is never dark enough to see who is waiting in it. The discomfort with silence is not a personality. It is a symptom. It is the measure of exactly how much is waiting in that room. And I will tell you something hard and freeing at once. Everything waiting in that room is yours, and none of it is as terrible as the avoiding has made it. And the soul cannot begin to rest until you sit down with its visitors. They did not come to destroy you. They came to be felt and then to leave. They have been trying to check out of that inn for decades. You are the only one who can receive them at the desk. And the fifth sign, the deepest one, is that you have stopped wanting things for yourself. Not the humility of age, which is real and beautiful. Wanting less stuff, needing less noise. That is wisdom arriving. I mean something else. And if this one is yours, you know it already. When someone asks, "What would you like?" and they mean it. The birthday question, the "where should we go" question, the "what would make you happy" question, and you search inside for the answer, and the shelf is bare. Whatever you like, I don't mind. Whatever is easiest. Not spoken as politeness, spoken as truth. Because when you look inward for a want, a real want of your own, nothing rises. The old people had a name for wanting. They called it the soul leaning forward. A want, a true one, small as a taste for a certain food, large as a dream of a certain journey, is the spirit leaning toward the world, reaching for its own life. And a soul with nothing left leans nowhere. It sits back. It lets others choose, not from generosity, but from depletion, because leaning takes strength it no longer has. This is the sign that has gone the furthest, and if it is yours, hear me speak directly to you now. The wants are not gone. I promise you this on everything I have taught. They are folded away, deep in the tired place, the way seeds fold themselves in a drought. Your soul stopped leaning because leaning was never answered. Year after year, want after want deferred for everyone else's wants, until the leaning itself seemed pointless, and the spirit, to save itself, stopped. But drought seeds are alive, every gardener knows it, and the first rains, the refilling I keep promising you, bring them up green through ground that looked finished. I've watched a woman of 80 rediscover that she wanted to paint. I've watched a man of 76 discover he wanted, of all things on this earth, to learn the fiddle. and want it like a boy. The shelf is not bare. The shelf is in the dark. We are going to turn on the light. So, there are the 5 signs: the lost taste, the heavy mornings, the avoidance of beloved faces, the fear of silence, the vanished wants. Count yours honestly. And now, what I promised, what a tired soul actually needs, because it is not sleep. We have established that, and it is not vacations, and it is not the feast. The soul refills through exactly the doors the modern world removed, and every one of them can be reopened this week in any life at any age. It refills in unhurried quiet, taken daily, small doses at first, if the room of silence frightens you. 2 minutes, then 5, sitting with whatever rises, letting the old visitors finally be felt and released. It refills through beauty received on purpose. The sunrise actually watched, not glanced at. The music listened to with closed eyes and nothing else running. It refills through the hands, through making and tending the garden, the dough, the wood, the wool. I have taught you this, and it is soul medicine as much as joy medicine. It refills through honest company, one true face, one real conversation once the account can afford it again. And it refills deepest of all through meaning, through mattering to something, the teaching, the tending, the passing down that I tell you about in every teaching, because it is the current under all of them. Begin anywhere. Begin with 2 minutes of quiet tomorrow morning before the noise starts. That is the first rain. And the drought seeds, all of them, every want and taste and lean the years have folded away, are still down there in you, alive, waiting for exactly that weather. You are not finished, my friend. You were never finished. You are a dry field in the week before the rains, and the rains, for once in this life, are entirely in your own hands. And do not let the size of the dryness discourage you about the speed of the return. That is the last false belief I want to take from you tonight. You are thinking, decades of this, surely decades to undo. No, that is body arithmetic, and the soul does not keep the body's books. I have watched a soul begin refilling in a single evening, one real sunset actually watched after 30 years of glanced at ones. And the woman wept on her own porch and could not say why, and I could have told her why. The first rain had touched the field. That is all. That is what that feeling is. The soul is not slow. The soul was never slow. It was only unattended. Attend it, and it responds with the speed of a plant turning to light, which, if you have ever watched one closely, is faster than anyone believes. 2 minutes of true quiet tomorrow. One piece of beauty received on purpose. That is enough for the first green. The rest follows the water, the way it always has, the way it has been waiting to do in you all along. If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way. 20 teachings, 100 pages. Written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read one chapter, sit with it. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments how many of the 5 signs are yours, and which one did you feel the moment I named it? I read every comment. And if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.